her hair rippling in the soft planetary wind, a long gown of woven light flowing around her like a living flame. Her name was Sarai, or at least that's what she told me. The translator in my neural implant sputtered a few times before settling on that approximation. Sarai meant something between stormlight and promise in her tongue. Our diplomatic mission had been simple: make first contact, establish trade discussions, avoid war. But as the shuttle door hissed open and I stepped onto that glassy obsidian plane, I realized I wasn't just meeting another intelligent species. I was walking into a moment that would rewrite everything I understood about beauty, danger, and love. She smiled at me, her eyes glowing faintly, 2 rings of gold orbiting around black pupils. Her skin shimmered faintly under the light, textured like crystal dust. My commanding officer nudged me to speak. Protocol demanded a respectful greeting, but the words that came out were not in any handbook. I muttered, breathless, "You look beautiful in that dress." There was a pause, a silence, so deep it felt like the stars themselves held their breath. And then slowly, she smiled. Not a human smile, not exactly. It was wider, almost too wide, and filled with something ancient and knowing. And then she locked the door. The chamber sealed with a low hum. My translator flickered warnings. Environmental containment engaged. My heart thudded. "What are you doing?" I asked, trying to sound calm. "Testing," Sarai said softly. Her voice was a harmony, like several tones speaking at once. "You spoke admiration. I must see if it is truth." She stepped closer. The air shimmered with warmth. I could see her more clearly now, the faint circuitry running just beneath her translucent skin, veins of blue light pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. She reached out and brushed her fingers along my cheek. They were cold, almost metallic, but her touch carried a strange tenderness. "Humans," she whispered, "are curious creatures. You arrive from the void, offer gifts, and lie with your eyes." "I didn't lie," I said. "You really do look." She placed a finger on my lips. "Careful," she said. "On my world, beauty is not compliment. It is challenge." The walls pulsed around us. The room itself was alive, reacting to her emotions. Panels of bioluminescent glass shifted colors, cycling from violet to red. I realized, too late, that I had walked into something ceremonial. Not a conversation, a trial. Sarai circled me slowly. "Your people crave conquest. We crave connection. Yet both lead to ruin." Her words echoed, overlapping slightly, as though spoken by more than one version of her at once. "Tell me, human, when you call something beautiful, do you wish to protect it or possess it?" I swallowed hard. "Maybe both," I admitted. She stopped behind me. "Then you are honest," she said. "That is rare." For a moment, I thought she might let me go. But then the light around her changed again, white, brilliant, and blinding. She tilted her head as if listening to something I couldn't hear. "My sisters are watching," she said quietly. "They wish to know if you are worthy of further contact. One must always be tested by the one he admires most." I turned toward her. "And if I fail?" Her smile returned. "Then you will be remembered as the last human to speak." What followed felt less like an interrogation and more like a dream stitched from the edges of reality. The floor dissolved into a sea of starlight, and I was standing in the memory of her world. Vast crystalline spires rising from silver oceans, great floating orbs drifting like moons tethered by tendrils of energy. I saw her people, tall, luminous, graceful. They sang to the stars instead of traveling to them. Their technology was biological, symbiotic. Every structure breathed. "You destroyed your oceans," Sarai said beside me, her voice filled with both sorrow and fascination. "You burned your skies. And yet you still find time to create music. Because music, I said, is what keeps us human. She looked at me curiously. You think we do not sing because we are perfect? We sing because we must remember what sorrow feels like. Her eyes softened. For the first time, I sensed something longing, a loneliness that crossed galaxies. She touched my hand again, and this time, the cold was gone. The scene shifted. The two of us were standing in what looked like her private quarters, surrounded by translucent walls and flowing ribbons of light. She reached up, pressed a hand to her temple, and the entire world shimmered. I can show you my thoughts, she said, if you wish. I hesitated. Will it hurt? Only if you lie. When her mind touched mine, I felt everything. A cascade of colors and emotions, raw and endless. Joy, grief, creation, destruction. I saw her species rise from oceans of glass, watch them learn to shape energy with song, then lose half their world to a war fought in silence. I saw Sarai herself standing alone on a field of dying light, holding the last seed of her planet's heart. And then she saw me. My memories, my ship, my planet, my mother's voice when I left Earth. She gasped softly. You remember love, she whispered. Real love. That is unexpected. Her voice trembled slightly as she withdrew from the link. The walls around us dimmed to a soft blue glow. I believe you now, she said. Your words were truth. The door unlocked with a soft chime. I exhaled, realizing I had been holding my breath for what felt like an eternity. So, am I free to go? She tilted her head, eyes glittering. Free? Yes. But unchanged? No. I stepped out into the corridor, blinking against the alien starlight. The rest of the diplomatic team rushed toward me, voices buzzing with static and questions, but all I could think about was her, standing alone in that chamber, her gown of light shifting with unseen winds. That night, as our ship prepared for departure, a message blinked on my console. No sender, just coordinates, far beyond Vareth Prime's orbit. And a single line of text. If you still think I am beautiful, come find me where the suns merge. 10 years later, I did. The binary stars of the Halion Rift burned gold and red, their collision birthing ribbons of plasma that danced across the void. And there, at the edge of the storm, waited a ship unlike any human craft, pulsing with the rhythm of a heartbeat. She stood in the airlock as if she had always known I would come. Sarai, I whispered. She smiled again, that same impossible, knowing smile. You learned, she said softly. You crossed light years not for conquest, but for truth. I nodded, unable to speak. You look beautiful in that dress, I finally said. She laughed, a sound like stars breaking into song. And as the door slid shut behind me, she reached out her hand. This time, I locked it from the inside.